Hey everybody, welcome back to BK's Bullets. Today we're going to be talking about the new Harleen collection or graphic novel, whatever you want to call it, from DC Comic Books. This is the Black Label line. Hey everybody, welcome back to BK's Bullets. As always, I'm your host, Brent. We're going to go to an overview of this hardcover to show it off because it is really cool how they put this together. And then we're going to come back here for the review. Take a look at this Harleen hardcover right here. This is the best presentation of a hardcover I've seen in a long time, simply because it's fantastic. It's got this cool glossy cover, and I don't know if this was the cover to issue number 1 or if it's 1 or 2, but it is really cool. You know, you get the dust jacket, the little blurbs over here, and inside you've got the red and white diamond stuff, and then each little red diamond has an image from the book. Those are really cool. But what's cool is you know, this is actually like a see-through cover. So this is the actual cover to the hardcover, and it's like, I think the actual cover has more blood on her face, but they like reduced it, you know, so that you could get this image with her kind of holding up the mask of Harley Quinn, and then you like taking a peek behind that cracked shell, and this is the person who's really inside, and then you flip it over, and then yeah, this is how she became that way. She killed somebody. She went nuts. But it's really cool, and it's perfect. Like, you can't even tell now, other than that, because I showed you, but you couldn't tell before that this was, you know, 2 images. They do the same thing on the back, which is cool. It's just this diamond motif and the Joker and Harleen there, and it's just like a see-through window. And there's the back. But, you know, all the text and stuff is visible. The barcodes here on the cover. It's really cool. And then that diamond motif with the images is also here, and then it's solid as you actually get into the story. So really cool. This is the best one that I've seen so far. There are only 3 out there. Here's the title page, but this is the best one. So I guess, yeah, this is the cover to book 1 here, which is what is on the front cover of the book when you open it up. And then let's go to book 3. I think that is a bloody cover. These books are so thick, it's hard to find the covers to all these. Oh, nope. So yeah, this is book 3's cover right here. The straitjacket thing. So yeah, actually, so I guess they created another image, or he had one ready to go that they did with the blood. But that's cool. That is really cool. I really enjoy that. So yeah, this is a really cool book. I'm going to tell you all about it in the review, but this is the same size as the printing, so the pages are the same size. They're not bigger than they were originally, like most like deluxe hardcovers you'll see out there. The Black Label line really wants you to get a full image of art, and these widescreen panels as you go across really add some like cinematicness to the storytelling. Like I could see this being a shot of a film right here. You know, I don't know, you just get more. Like on a regular comic, this would end right here, so you wouldn't see but, you know, Batman's neck over if the artist chose to shoot it that way, or it'd cut off both their shoulders. But you really, in this one panel, because it's so wide, you can really get the sense that like they're all alone out here, and you see that in the second panel. But it's you know, it's told you in the first because there's so much space around them. Yeah, this is the first issue. She encounters the Joker. This is where she's talking to someone about her thesis and why she wants to work at Arkham to work on it. Gives her a reason to go in here. Starts looking at old tapes of the Joker. She meets Harvey Dent. There is a cool little Two-Face origin story in here that kind of ties into everything, especially at the end when she actually goes nuts. It's really cool. So she's like encountering all these guys. Here's Killer Croc, Poison Ivy, and then she's like in the halls of, you know, powerless Arkham. She encounters the Joker and Two-Face at the same time. He's like newly Two-Face, and he's there to wreak havoc, and he has his reasons. You'll find those out there. And then Batman's like, somehow this is all my fault. That's a really cool thing. But extras, there's a whole lot of extras in the back here, kind of just, not outlining his process, but really, I guess he pitched it earlier in 2015, 2016, started doing some things on the web to try and, he's got Stepjohn has a big DeviantArt presence. Not all of it is for kids, so don't go looking there thinking it's all superheroes and stuff. There's some erotica and stuff he does there as well, but he did a backup story for Suicide Squad with the character, I guess around the time of the movie, and this got a lot of attention because the art is so detailed and fantastic, and then it really kind of took off from there. And then it kind of shows the process here where he doesn't really do a script, he does an outline and then moves into like rough thumbnails, and you can see the artwork here is a little bit rougher than the finished ones, and then into the finals, So, yeah. It's a really cool hardcover. But is the book any good? It is. Now I'm going to tell you why. And now for the review. So, I did not read any of these issues before I got them. I pretty much, knew they were coming out, and I decided I wanted to wait for the collection because I'd gotten I don't know if I'd gotten it. I'd seen the Batman Damned collection, and I was like, that's a nice collection. I really like how they put that together. I want that experience on Harleen. And then when it came out and I saw some other videos and stuff, I was blown away by it, how well it's put together. And you just saw all that stuff, in the first part of this video. So the story is really, really good. And it's all written and drawn by Stepjohn, it's hard to say, it's a Croatian guy. Stjepan is how you spell his first name, and Sejic is how you spell his last name. I'm going to say Stepjohn Sejic. Like I said, it's Croatian. A little bit difficult for people who don't pronounce Croatian names all the time. He lives over there, that's how I know he's Croatian, and I've done some other reading about him. But basically, he's an artist, and he's just now kind of like breaking into the big two, I guess you would say. He's been working for Top Cow for, I don't know, over 10 years. He did a long run on Witchblade over there. He did some of their events. He came back to Witchblade. He did Magdalena, Darkness, all that Witchblade-y stuff. He did a lot of that. Aphrodite. But basically what's cool about Stepjohn here is that he's an all-digital artist. Like, everything done in here is done in Photoshop. And just like how Libermejo varies his style when he wants to, put emphasis on a page or a panel, Stepjohn does the same thing. You'll see some panels and all the art is fantastic. It looks really good because he's got such a great style. There are some panels that are more rendered, I would say, or put more detail into it than others. So it's almost like a pacing thing. You're spending a whole lot of time, or not a whole lot of time, looking at the kind of the more basic panels, and then, like this page. It's a 2-page spread of a bunch of dialogue between Harleen Quinzel and Harvey Dent. No spoilers there. But you get to the splash page in book 2 of the Joker, and it's a lot more detailed, and you are taking the time to look at all the details he put into his rendering of the Joker. Or here's like a picture of Harleen bashing some guy's face in, and you look at that image, and that's a whole lot more detail in that image in terms of like the rendering, the shadows, the colors, all that stuff. And then this dream sequence over here, there's a whole lot to that too. But then you turn into one of these pages, a little bit more simpler than some of the other ones. And it kind of helps the pacing to this book, I think, a little bit. It's also cool to look at art like this the same way you would read Saga and realize that you don't need a whole lot of detail or colors, and that sometimes simple is the better way to go in terms of your art, in terms of storytelling. Because you see the same thing in Saga too. You got some simplistic panels, and then they'll really go full bore for the big impact panels. And that's done all throughout here. I mean, just look at these covers. This cover, there's so much detail to this cover. In all the covers and stuff like that. But inside, you don't really have that same amount of detail on every page. And that's okay, because he's trying to accomplish something. This, panel in the first issue where they're they got Batman, like this vision of Batman and stuff. It's a really cool image, and there's a whole lot of detail put into that image. And then you keep reading, and then you got some more simplistic panels like this city scene. I'm sure those are maybe laid in 3D backdrops or whatever, and the people walking by are not like fully rendered. That's okay. You're not really that important. You're not invested in those characters. So it's just cool to realize how you can use your level of detail, your level of coloring to emphasize your storytelling. And it all meshes in this book because it's one vision. It's Sepjon Sejic who writes it, draws it, colors it. I think he's the letterer too. Let me double check. I wouldn't be surprised. Oh, he's not the letterer. Lettering is done by Gabriel Downey. But everything else about this book is all one man's vision. So that is really, really cool. And I really liked it. I really liked this book. So if you don't know the premise, it's called Harleen, and it's not about Harley Quinn. It's about Harleen Quinzel, the person she was before she went mad, and it's basically her origin story, I guess you would say, or a version of it. All these different origin stories have different facets to them, or they're altered every time they're told. That's perfectly fine. That's part of what we love about retelling these origin stories. This one is really detailed in the look about her being a psychiatrist. It gives her a thesis she's working on, gives her a reason to be at Arkham. Why was she even there? It answers that question. It answers why she took such an interest in the Joker as opposed to any other patient at Arkham. It comes up with all these reasons that are believable so that when she becomes invested in the Joker in a romantic way, it kind of makes sense. Because you see the type of person she is in the first book. She doesn't meet him until the very, very end. But the great thing about these Black Label stories is that, it's just 3 issues, whatever. They're all double-sized issues. These are 40, 60-page issues. So there's no page number, so I don't know if it's 120 pages or 180 pages, whatever. But that's a whole lot of story as opposed to a single-issue comic book nowadays is only 20 pages. So you're spending a whole lot of time in one issue to set everything up for, the second act and the third. And they're kind of like movies, I guess, in that way, in that there are only 3 issues to a lot of these. Superman Year One I'm going to read that. Batman Damned I've read. This one, they're all 3-issue stories, but it's Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. So I think it really works well. And if they want to adapt these for movies, for the live action or even the animated stuff, I'm sure they will be fine, and they will be great things to do for that because they are legitimate 3-act structure stories. So I really enjoyed it. Really, really enjoyed it. I've read some of his other stuff. He does this erotica comic called Sunstone. It's not for kids. I've read some of that, and that is really kind of where I got an attachment to him as an artist and a storyteller. He does a whole lot. It's like that, aside from the erotica BDSM stuff that's in there, it's a whole lot of relationship stories. And I feel when I was reading some of that, I was like, wow, I'm really invested in these characters. And he brings that same care and thought process to these characters that he doesn't own, but that he loves anyway. And it's really, really cool. Really well done story. So if you have not picked up Harleen, go pick it up. It's in hardcover. It's an awesome book. It's well worth your time and your money. So this gets 5 stars from me. I really enjoyed this one. So hope you guys liked the video. Thumb it up if you did. Please subscribe. Hit that bell. Leave a comment down below. All that stuff. I'll have a rash of comments in the last couple of days, and I love responding to you guys and seeing them. So thanks for watching the video, and I will see you guys in the funny pages.